Thank you for joining us today for the virtual Sunday service with the Center for Creative Living. CCL, a charter of the Universal Church of the Master, has served and supported the spiritual needs of its community here in the Bay Area for over 20 years.
Good morning, good morning. And would you all please shut off your cell phone, either turn it down, turn it off, so we're not in any way distracted from today, because today is going to be an amazing day. Have so many things going on. Now, Ed, is it possible for me to raise this up a little bit? I feel like it's attacking me.
You tend to speak so powerfully, your breath pop if you pull it to you.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's supposed to be down here. Think of the Academy Awards.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for this award.
No, you were presented. You were presented.
Oh, ladies, I'm going to do that a little bit this morning. So thank you all so very much. I know that Christmas and family and everything, people all have different ways of reacting of what's going on. And for me, my way of reacting is to thank people for the things that they've done. And before I even begin with that, April would like to make a presentation. If you could come up here, April. Yay. Gabrielle's right behind you.
She's behind you.
I told her not to leave.
Oh, good. She wasn't allowed to. So, this is just to acknowledge to the volunteers and to you for giving us a home. Homemade Tunis cake. It was my first attempt at chocolate ganache. And I hope you'll have it with your tea and sit and really appreciate the fact that we appreciate the fact we have a place here, and then I hope you can appreciate us being here and sharing the space with you. So it's for all the volunteers that
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, well, but we're not done with presentations. Gabrielle, you can move away a little bit. You
and the tasty stuff.
I had asked my spirit guide, Mom, what do you give people who, just about have everything? What's the most personal thing you can give somebody?
None. Time.
Yeah, there is something. What's the most personal thing that people have?
Love. Time.
Their name. And so what Mom said is, why don't you give people their name? So, and the first name I want to give is to Annie. Thank you so much for being our Associate Pastor. Thank you for always being there when we asked you. Thank you for the help with the move, and there you are.
Thank you.
The next person is April. April. And thank you for all the help and being there night and day at the center, helping us move, toting stuff, pushing stuff, doing all of that. I want to thank you so much. It was so appreciated. Eileen. Thank you for being here and being able to take care of everything here on Sunday morning. We really do appreciate it. It's been so wonderful. These were made by a gentleman in China, and that's your name in Chinese calligraphy. Okay, Corky, she'll be back soon. Ed? We couldn't have done any of this. Come on, let the camera see you. They don't know what the man behind the camera looks like. Thank you so very much. He has spent hundreds of hours doing this, so we really do appreciate all your time and all your effort. Thank you so very much. And then we have Mel. Mel is one of these people called, and he brought up things, and he pushed and shoved, and things I didn't know what we were going to do with, he took home with him.
Found homes for some of us.
CCL South. Janet, every Sunday you're here, every Sunday you're doing something that is so wonderful. We want to thank you so very much for playing the guitar, singing, speaking, and there you are. Thank you so very much. Joyce C. People don't realize that when you come here, you drive all the way over the hill from Santa Cruz, in the rain, in the snow, in the heat, to get here. Just to talk and give us your information about things. What?
And the clouds.
And the clouds, you're right. And Patty is the one who does the driving.
Yes.
And she's the one who is, when you get to know these two, you realize that Patty is the hand behind the Thank you so much, Patty. We really appreciate you. And this is one of those things that we have so many people to thank, and I know there's, and now if you weren't named, it's not because we don't think of you, okay? Gabrielle, where'd you go? Okay. Gabrielle, thank you so much for opening up the center here. Thank you for all you do. Thank you for always being cheerful. She puts on this face of smiling when there's so much going on. And she's here she is. Thank you so much. And we have other people that I would like to thank for helping us, but that move that was incredibly difficult. And for all of you that were in on it and helped, I am so impressed. But you know, the one person that needs the most applause and thank you and everything else is my wife, Corbin. It takes a community, it takes a family to put things together. And I don't think you realize how much work and energy that's going on just to have all of these things happening at the same time. And it's so wonderful when I look out here and see all these faces that I recognize, that I'm so glad are here and so glad are spending time with us. Thank you so very much.
From Hira.
Yeah. What?
Hira. You recognize from Hira.
From there, I do, yeah. And Christina, thank you for bringing your mom, and thank you for bringing Rosalia. We so appreciate it. That was great. We have goodies over here that we're here for the Christmas brunch that the Billy DeFrank had. So if you're interested in having something to go with your coffee this morning, that's right over there. So we'd like to have you do that. Can you see the full? This is once a year I get to wear this dress. Isn't that great? I don't know if the rest of you have this happen. I have no idea where I got this dress. It just sits in my closet, and then all of a sudden I go, Kwanzaa's coming.
I think somebody ordered it special for you.
Did you order it special for me?
Somebody did years ago. Just yesterday.
These are years and years ago. And thank you, Joyce, for the Kwanzaa altar.
Wow, what a great altar.
Isn't that great? It's wonderful. The picture over there, I want to tell you the story because it's so interesting. Cheryl Youngbrook Rose, who is an artist that I really appreciate, she was illustrating fairy tales. And this is an African fairy tale. And this is a young man who so enjoyed looking at himself. Thank you. And kind of one of these things of like narcissistic behavior. He kept looking at himself and his reflection in the river. And all of a sudden, he decided he was going to leave the planet. And the dove of God came and ascended. He ascended with the dove. And it was one of those things that God wasn't making him wrong for being interested in himself. God just still loved him and took him with him. Well, that picture looks very much like my friend Byron.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's Byron.
Yeah, and so when Cheryl was going to be painting this, she lives in Mount Shasta. And she said, there's not a lot of young black men in Mount Shasta. And so she thought, where am I going to find a model? And she said there were a couple she saw, but she hated to walk in and say to them, would you model for me? You know, when she, for those of you who don't know, Cheryl Yambrecht Rose has red hair and very, very white skin. And she said, they'd think, who is this woman and why is she hitting on me, you know? And so she said she went and she said to her spirit guide, I would like to see a picture of a young black man that I can paint. So when we went up to Mount Shasta, we went to her studio, and this was sitting on the easel. She had just finished it. And I walked in and I said, that's my friend Byron. And she said, where is he? I said, in spirit. And she went, well, he was sure here with me. So we hung it in our living room. And his partner, Jean, came in and he was still grieving over the loss of his love of his life. And he walked in and he looked at that picture and he said, oh my God, where'd you get the painting of Byron? So I love this painting because it represents who, when we're on the other side, we can still talk. When we are here, we feel a lot of emotions and things. And most of all, that love still continues. And so I wanted to bring it in here for Kwanzaa, because that's one of the celebrations that Byron really enjoyed. He was one of my best friends. People would say if I went somewhere, where's Byron? Because we were always pretty connected. So thank you so much for appreciating that and appreciating the entire altar. Thank you, Joyce and Patty. This is so great. Okay, I would like to take a moment for you to all put your feet flat on the floor. Janet is so great. She never knows when I'm going to do a meditation. Neither does Ed.
Flurry of activity, yeah?
We got flurry of activity for meditation. So. I'd like everyone to relax. This is a hectic season. We have so many things going on and so many people pulling on us our attention. And most of all, we remember what Christmas was before when we were younger. Keep looking forward. Don't get caught up with what happened and who argued with who at Christmas time or whose mince pie was horrible or whatever. Let go of all of the things connected with Christmas and what you thought you should do, and maybe what you did or didn't do. Because right now, I want you to get into a state of clarity where all you're going to think about is how relaxed you are. Just breathe in. Deep breath. Let's go. Breathe in. And now relax. Just release it, okay? One more time. Breathe in. Deep, 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 deep. be around holidays, doesn't have to be around anything particular. It could have been the first day you realized that you had toes. But whatever, let's go back to a memory where you were completely happy and relaxed. And as you bring up that memory for you, relax into it. Let each part of your body relax. And know that all day today and this week, if anything comes up where you're feeling frustrated, angry, when you're having issues, recall this past memory. For some of you, the memory might have just been last week. But pick a memory that reminds you of how loved, how appreciated, and how honored you are. And that memory can be put in place of any anger or frustration you have. And with you just now, with your eyes closed, I want you to listen to the wonderful Reverend Childs.
Oh, your memory stands in my heart like a sunburst in the dawn, like the midnight star. And your faith grows, Imani, Imani holds true, and we know what's real is me and you, and the hope swells in the moment of our awakening, and the dream grows in this moment of our reckoning, and the memory holds, and the faith unfolds that we are love, pure and full. The river of love and hope washes over our wounded nights, washes over our dream of days, and we hold so gently this truth, so gently this truth. We are community, and our memories fill our hearts with joy. We are in unity, and our souls open up to the brightest star in the deepest night. We are shining bright. We bring forth the power of all that we can breathe, all that we can embrace, and we're held in this moment of the lighting of the candle, of this moment of gathering together. Our memories like a village fill our hearts with joy. our souls. We are whole. We breathe in this right, this holy hope, and this moment we are one in the rising sun, in the kiss of all our memories that bring us home. We're home. We're home. Oh, we are home. We are home. We are home. We are home. Bring it on home, all the love and the faith, community, unity. We are home. We are home. We are
Wow.
That's the best I've ever heard you.
That was beautiful.
Isn't that amazing? She never knows what I'm going to say, and then she makes up a song. I love it. It is so great. Thank you, Janet. Next week, I'm going to be doing predictions, so I want you to think this week of what it is that you want to ask my spirit guide mom about what's coming up for next year. And I expect the volunteers back there to have questions too, and because that's what it's about. I'm going to be doing this as my predictions are my gift to you, and I would love to have a full house here. So if you have any friends who've never had a reading, or if they're worried about what's coming up for them next year, bring them along so we can talk to them about it. Be really glad to do that, okay? Now, the speaker today is one of these people that, if you don't know Joyce C. Brown, I've got to, before I go any further, before I introduce you, I've got to tell you my booster shot was given to me by Miss Brown. And she came up and I said, "Oh, what's your name?" She goes, "Miss Brown." And I said, "I've got a real dear friend called Joyce C. Brown." She said, "I don't think I've heard of her." I said, "Oh, then you're missing something." And that's the way I feel. If you don't know Joyce, if you haven't met Joyce, oh, what a loss in your life. She is professional. She is exciting. She is interesting. She is a delightful speaker. She has a wonderful sense of humor. She's a great writer. Mm-hmm. She has all of these gifts. And when you meet her, she doesn't tell you how wonderful she is. She's like a Christmas package that you open one layer, and then there's another layer, and then there's another layer. And that's what Joyce is like. The more you get to know her, the more beautiful you see she truly is. She is one of the most spiritual people I know, and one with the most stories. Please, I'd like you to take a moment to think of what you might know about Joyce. Yeah. And
I won't tell.
Regina's not going to tell. And so now, after you've thought about Joyce a minute, please welcome her, Reverend Joyce C. Brown. Sit behind you and heckle, okay?
Okay, that's perfect position there.
And
Do you need to move the chair?
Yeah, why don't you move the chair over here?
All
So,
right. Be right
right,
with
right
you.
here, yeah. She also is a furniture mover.
I like to cook. I like to eat. We won't go into that. And good morning.
Good morning.
Reverend Joycee.
There we go then. Now the other voice comes out.
We have my mask. Well, you take yours off. Let me take mine.
All right.
And then there we're in good shape.
So, we are all here in the same place at the same time in the universe. And don't let anyone tell you different. Give them my number. I was born 1949, June 7th, in a place called Marigold, Mississippi. Cotton, corn, that kind of stuff. There was a tornado that came through, but I was coming out. My older sister stayed with my mother, and at that time my older sister would have been about 10 or 12, Dorothy May. My father went out and got into the little car, Ford, and went to get the midwife. There were no doctors at that time for African American women giving birth and that kind of thing, and you're out in the country. So the midwives came, the root workers, the seers. He went and got her and brought her back. Clouds rolling on the ground, raining like crazy. I'm still coming. Apparently I came in with no fuss or bother. I was calm and quiet. The clouds lifted, tornado went away. There was Joyce C. Brown. Now I only know this because my father told me how I got here. Model T Ford, that was the name of it. The car, he went out and brought back the midwife. Apparently, I didn't cry. I never got that one till later in life. I didn't cry. I was peaceful, quiet, introspective as a little girl. Walked early, but decided not to. Apparently, I would just sit there, and they would plop me. And I would sit on the front porch. We called it a poach then, no R's to be found. And people would come through and talk to me. And my mother would come out and say, "What did they say?" And I would tell her. And she said, And she'd go back in the house. Because I was baby number 7 at that time. So there were lots of children to deal with. What I didn't know is that a lot of the people that came to talk to me were what we would call souls or ghosts or spirits. And they were dressed beautiful. The men would walk and strut, and the women were sassy and dressed to the T, and they would go up and down the road every day. And I would sit and watch them, you know, and they'd come over and they'd say the same thing: "Look at the baby. Look at the baby." My mother would come out and say, "What did they say?" And I would say, "They said, look at the baby." I wasn't until I was about 10 or 11 that my father told me that the truth about it. I said, "Oh, that's called an awakening." There are all kinds of awakenings. There's not one awakening, but there is one consciousness. I really believe that. How we awaken into that consciousness depends upon what we have experienced, what we have learned, what we have read, what we have just witnessed through just being there and being alive through this consciousness. So the question is, what is Kwanzaa? Well, I was having a bit of a Kwanzaa, and I wasn't even here yet. I was coming in, but I wasn't fully born. midwife came, assisted me into my birth, into my awakening, to my enlightenment, to my presence, to me becoming Joyce C. Brown. So what does Kwanzaa do? It helps you when you can learn the way to work with Kwanzaa, and it doesn't matter who you are. So there is no rule. You can only do this if you're African American descent, whatever that may be these days, or you know someone, or you've somehow been given permission. Anyone can do Kwanzaa. How Kwanzaa came into being was that out of the turmoils, violence, pain and suffering, and there was an opening to make changes in life and to take a look at yourself from a different perspective. But it's not easy. It isn't easy to have consciousness and to become enlightened or go into a phase of enlightenment, progression, and be in this world that is full of chaos of all kinds. Pick anyone you want and you got chaos. So what Kwanzaa did, it brought a sense of, I'm going to use the hope word. And it's not one of the words that I use a lot because I feel it's overused. But in 1966, give or take, it was a hope word. That there's more to your life than what it is you're experiencing, but you have to go find it. You have to be willing to open to receive. We cannot wait for someone to keep giving you something when you have the ability to unearth it yourself and not to follow old patterns. Enlightenment, Kwanzaa, change, hope is all about not following old patterns. And there's a tendency to keep following them for the simple reason that they are familiar. And what's familiar creates a pattern within us that causes us to forget that we are conscious beings. So when I stand up here and I say to you, we share this same consciousness, we do. We may not always know what to do with it, but we do share it. Sometimes consciousness brings something called liberation. Liberation isn't easy because we have a built-in system that convinces us that every step must go in the same direction. And when you don't, you're seen as being odd or different. Now, come on now. Don't sit out there and not be odd or different. Okay, get in there with me. Get in there with me. Get in there with me. I mean, you're here as CCL, so you can't tell me you're not odd and different. Yep. So I've been this way ever since I came in 1949, June 7th, with the doggone tornado welcoming me. And I haven't changed. I just don't tell everybody everything. You know what I'm talking here. Okay. But then again, what is Kwanzaa? It's about change. But it doesn't mean everything changes. Anyone, again, can do Kwanzaa. You do not have to be specific African American, descent and accent and all the rest of those scents. You don't have to be any of those. All you need to do is be yourself and the willingness to share something else as a new meaning for you or new experience that doesn't replace anything in your life. What it does is it brings in something. So it's not about getting rid of anything. It is about changing how you're relating to your life, which will progressively remove those things that you're doing to hurt you or to hurt others or just keep you stuck in a place where you can move from. It's about growth and healing. It's about community and family. It's about working together to create. It is about all of these things based on what is a tradition that is very old. I couldn't find any information to Tell me how old it is. Only that it's been practiced. You know, it throughout various aspects of Africa for a very long time. When it was brought to this country, remember it came in on the eve of an incredible unrest down in Los Angeles.
Right.
You know, we all running around, teenagers and younger, trying to figure out what the heck has just happened. And what had happened was what was familiar to the African American community. It was very familiar. And at the time, I was living in Santa Barbara, California, which was a shock in itself. It really was, because I was used to being around nothing but black folk. And so here I am with a whole different community of folks. But I adjusted quickly. Okay? But 1965 was a really big shock. And it was a big shock because it happened quickly. You see, this wasn't something that was like someone says, well, let's just plan this. This was spontaneous, and that was based on what was being stored inside. The whole idea about getting involved with Kwanzaa at this point in anyone's life, it's about releasing something you don't need to keep. So whether you light candles or not, it's up to you. You don't have to. There's no rule, as far as I could find, that says you have to do candles. You can do whatever you would like to do. The candles is part of the symbolism of the liberation and healing, community, family, and it goes on and on. But it begins with you, which is the center candle. And that's a black candle representing Africa. But not all Africans are black. So there you have it. So now you can decide about your candle. Creativity is okay. Put 2 candles.
Yeah.
Get 3 candles. Get as many as you like. It's okay. Because what you're doing is connecting to yourself from the inside. And getting to know yourself. And getting to know your community. And getting to know how you feel. Growth can only begin with you. And you can be told every day how important it is to be anything. And until you decide you're going to be that anything, nothing happens. So personal growth is personal. What we do is as we are growing, we learn how to share that growth with those around us and those that are in our community, or at your work, or if you volunteer to help others. Whatever it is that you're doing, it adds to your personal growth. That's the key. That's your pivot. Now imagine just for a moment that you live in a place called Watts, and you don't feel you have any personal growth. You feel you're under scrutiny. You are in low income. You are not doing well. You've got drugs. You've got all kinds of things going on. Unemployment is raging. And you have violence, and you have police stuff going on all the time. And this one moment ignited out of all of the frustration being felt inside and held because there was no place to put it. What do you do with it? You got a whole community feeling this way in 1965, and we got whole communities feeling this way in 2021. So it really hasn't gone anywhere until individuals begin the process of coming to their oneness, coming to one, whichever one you want to be, and you make change. This is when we start to get the healing. It's got all kinds of names. Pick the one that works for you. Work with it and get to know yourself and realize you are the pivot for your change. And that will go into that circle all the time. You take the information that comes your way and you allow for it to help you to grow and become the person you want to be from inside out. If you're looking for yourself outside, you're not going to find you out there. You may say, well, how does she know that? I said, I don't know. I've had a peek or two. But I didn't find myself out there. I went back inside and became Joyce C. Brown. What a turnabout that was. I didn't know about Kwanzaa at that time. I only had my dad. And I talk about him because without him, I don't know if I would have made it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have went the way that a lot of young blacks went. Self-destruction. Sometimes you need leadership. I had a good leader. I had an excellent leader. I'll just call it what it is. He was a fabulous being called Daddy. And he made the difference for me. I didn't know about Kwanzaa. I knew Joseph Levi Thomas Brown. That was my Kwanzaa. You understand? That was my family. Don't put it all in an image. You got to come inside. Let the image work with you. It can help to give you some sense of focus and give you some information. Use it to the best of your ability. But it will always start on the inside. Think about this. My father was born in 1898. Now, if you have grandparents that were born in 1898, 1900s, you know what I'm talking. How they experienced the world was really remarkably different. But in the process of being born in 1898, my father achieved a lot for a black man. He achieved a lot. And he passed it on the best he could. I listened. I pass it on the best I can. It's up to you to decide to listen. I'll give it to you. I don't have no strings on it or any of that kind of stuff. If I know something I feel will help you, I'll tell you. I'll share it. I'll give you the story. And that's just the way I grew up, learning how to be there for someone else. It's a different form of Kwanzaa. It's like with a lot of things have lots of names, but we don't use them because we're respecting the information, we're respecting the technique, we're respecting the tradition. I understand that, but you must personalize it. I mean, it's really important that you do. Get to know you. And you are having your personal Kwanzaa, which means you're going to let go of the stuff that's got you stuck. You're going to let go of not feeling good about yourself. You're going to let go of feeling, why is the world this way? Well, we know why the world is this way, because we keep asking the question, why is the world this way? And so every time any one of us makes a change, we change the world. That change goes into consciousness. Every time you say yes when it's a yes, as opposed to I'm not going to say yes, what will other people think? Well, quite frankly, I don't even give one frog about what other people think. I don't. And I like frogs. I do. I think they're real cool. But I am not going to get caught up in what other people think. If I did, I wouldn't be standing here today. I would not have made the journey. But I thought about what I thought. And I faced the roads to get me here. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy being Joyce C. Brown. And it's not easy being yourselves when you are going against yourself. It's important to go with you. It's okay to say no to what doesn't work. And so Kwanzaa works because it brings people together who have some yeses going on. And they want to be in a place where they feel comfortable, where they can share with others of a like mind. It's not about politics. It's not how I experienced it. It was celebrating life. It was enjoying good food and conversation. It was about the music and the children playing. That's what it was all about. It wasn't about taking over the world or creating disturbances or planning riots or anything else that people may think black gatherings are about. It was about work, family, business, building something, feeling strong within yourself, creating a sense of, and I'm going to use the pride word. That's a fabulous word. It's not always used correctly, I believe. That's my belief. You know, there's one thing to have pride in yourself. There's another thing to be angry and say, I'm being prideful. There is a really big difference. It's a one thing to say, I am prideful in the fact that I am who I am and I will stand up and tell anyone that. But it's another thing to want someone else to tell me who I am and how much they appreciate me, when all that is somebody's words. They're not mine. Do I feel good about me? Well, when I come to gather here at CCL, I always feel good about me. I don't ever know what's going to happen. I do not. If somebody was to say to me, do you know what's going to happen? I said, no. I just go with it. It comes out and I just let it out. When we put a name on something, we have to be very careful that we don't lock it into something that doesn't fit within your life or your community. You want things to adapt. You want to respect the idea. It was created out of chaos to help people to come together of colors, African descent. It was to help to bring about change in black communities. But that also was also about education. Feeling good about yourself. Teaching your children how to be respectful of themselves. And all of those good things that sometimes we lose when we're working so hard to hold the ends together. So it brought us all together at a time to just be in that room and letting go of all that other stuff for the few hours you're in that room. However, how do you do that when you're outside the room was the part that I don't believe has been able to find its way. There are those who are still working on that. There are individuals who are working on building strong communities, helping others, helping families in need. That is still Kwanzaa. So don't limit it to 6 days. Don't limit it to 6 days. You know, make sure that it's something you do a little something on every day. Maybe it's a phone call. You see, you don't always have to go someplace to do Kwanzaa. Write a note. Write a letter to someone that you haven't spoken to in a while. Who knows why? You've been busy. Or you had life situations happening. Understandable. Makes great sense to me. So you sit down and you write a note and you'll give someone an incredible lift in life because you remembered them. And you're sharing with them that you have a memory of them. And they will hold and cherish that note and they will write you back. However people are writing these days, I still like paper myself. I can't type worth a damn. I am not that one. But I can talk and I can... But do the simple things. This is also about what Kwanzaa is to me. Do not make it complicated. Because if you feel you have a solution to all the world problems, you are a very scary person. And I want that to be a good scary. I really do. But if you feel you can change everything that's been tossed up in the air into a strong wind to be blown asunder or in every other direction you can imagine, I would say first, sit in a room by yourself and talk it out loud. what it is that you're planning on doing. What do you feel that you know can help make a difference? Just talk it out loud in a room. Talk it out loud. And you might discover it's not quite as brilliant as you think it is. That there's some flaws in it. But that's okay, because that's what we are. We are flawed. And we learn from it and we grow from it. But when you talk it out loud, you will see it's not about the big picture. You have to start small. And when you start small, you start with you. Thank you.
That was fantastic, Joyce, as usual. And it's
you
wonderful.
Need a hand?
What?
You need a
No,
hand?
I'm fine, thank you.
You're fine.
Yeah. And my mother's child, she used to always say, leave me alone, I can do it myself. And I find that I'm following that in her footsteps, or in her, as it were, her walker. Anyway, each one of you should have gotten a program, and on the program, we had the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, and this is exactly what Joyce was talking about, each one. However, I found a little, you never want to give something to somebody who has before read for a living to make corrections. Number 7, the belief in God, family, heritage, leaders, and others that will lead to the victory of Africans around the world. Not that will lead to the victory. Okay, but look at these principles and take them home with you. That's why you got a program, so you can see what the principles are of Kwanzaa. Thank you so much, Joyce. You put it in such a way that we can all look at Kwanzaa inside us. It's so easy to look at any occasion, anything that we're doing outside, it's them, it's them. We forget to look at us and say, that's who it belongs to. It is us. Okay. We are going to do a collection, and then we're going to ask Annie to come up and do a short prayer. She not only gets past the basket, she needs to lead us in a prayer. She's, boy, look at this. Yeah.
So as Eileen often tells us, it doesn't always have to be free energy. The energy and the love that you put into the basket, if you don't have the money to share, is equally as powerful and equally as filled with love, and it will grow. Everything grows in that manner. So let us say our affirmation, which is giving to the ministry,
from which you receive our spiritual support and nurturing, is an affirmation and consciousness of the truth that Spirit is the prospering power enriching every area of our lives.
Is there any, now all of you who know about mask and know about singing, is there any reason why we can't sing the song into our mask?
I don't know.
I know. I don't either. So we won't, okay?
That's a good question, Dottie. That's a good question.
Remembering yeah, and that was so powerful. And then I started listening to your
so let's see her. What a pretty photo you have. I think it's really nice. Little dress.
I don't remember.
I want to take an opportunity to bless this. We want to bless the basket because the money in here helps people, supports people, and if you know somebody right now is having a difficult time, don't forget to have them call CCL and say, I need a little bit of help. Because this is what we're about. is helping people. And we want you to be a part of that also, just like what our wonderful Reverend Brown was talking about. Okay, Annie, you want to come up and lead this in a closing prayer? There's our rosary.
That smile just lights up the world.
Oh, I'm going to Auntie.
Auntie Maria. Auntie Maria. So let's take a moment, just breathe in a nice, beautiful breath, and let's fill it with the energy of Kwanzaa, that our own personal Kwanzaa, who we are, the love, the light, the joy, the energy that we truly are, the giving, the caring. Breathe in, and hold on to that. And then when you breathe out, it's okay to release. Release all those things that we're wanting to change within ourselves, that the things that are causing us the issues and so on. We know that we are a loving energy. And as we say to our Mother, Father, God, dear Mother, Father, God, and dear Creator, thank you so much for this day, and thank you for our lives, and thank you for all living creatures and for our Mother Earth. And thank you so much for this opportunity to recognize that there is no specific day that says it's okay to open up and to be our true selves. Every day, every minute, we have that opportunity. Thank you, Creator, for reminding us that you are always with us in that. And that we can always be open to that loving change within ourselves. Because we are the light of the world. We are the energy that we can give. We give thanks to you, Creator, for helping us water the earth in California, and let's keep it a little bit safe in places like Washington, where it's starting to get down in low teens in the temperature. Keep people safe, and thank you so much for letting us be together here in this room, virtually, through the internet, and with the love of all the world, because we can feel everybody, because we know that as we breathe in your love and our love within ourselves, when we are in our true, authentic selves, we can feel that love all around the world. And when we breathe out, we send it to everybody around. Keep us loving, keep us kind, and let us have a beautiful, beautiful week and a beautiful day today. Let us have a beautiful month, and let us keep that loving energy. We are grateful and thankful for every moment of being together and for every moment of having you in our lives, Creator. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So it is, blessed be, and amen.
Thank you, Annie. Thank you so very much. Well, I want to thank you all for joining us. We have coffee and we have goodies over here. This is a time for community. We'd like for you to sit and talk and get to know people. And before we close, look around. Who don't you know? Make sure you go up and say hi as soon as we're done. Thank you very much. See you next week. Bye now.
Thank you, guys.